Hey y'all, welcome to Adventures with Aggie, brought to you by the Ryan Martin Foundation. Today we have the second episode of our series featuring Alabama Adapted Athletics. Today we have Abby Bauleke on the show, and she's a women's wheelchair basketball player for Team USA and the University of Alabama. Please welcome Abby.
Abby, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for coming on. I'm excited to feature you and your story and learn more about all the awesome things that you do. But first, can you just kind of give me some background on who you are and what you do?
My name is Abby Bauleke. I'm from Minnesota. I'm a sophomore at the University of Alabama. I'm a member of the women's wheelchair basketball team. This is obviously like my second season with this team, and I'm also a member of Team USA. Just got back from the Tokyo Paralympics where we won a bronze medal. I got back a few weeks ago. So yeah, that's kind of who I am, what I do.
That's awesome. I love it. Let's backtrack a little bit, I guess. Why wheelchair basketball and how did this come about?
So basically, when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with a form of cancer called leukemia. And then a couple months into my treatment for that, I was paralyzed from the waist down. And that was about 15 years ago. I've been paralyzed ever since. And um, I'm the youngest sibling, and I come from a big family with a bunch of cousins and stuff. And basketball has been a sport that my family, like almost everybody in my family, does at some point. Like, very much a basketball family. Both my siblings did it. So I spent a lot of time in the gym watching them play. And then obviously, when I was paralyzed for a long time, we were just focusing on getting through both my chemotherapy treatment and obviously just like adjusting to life after being paralyzed that young. And then I was in like fifth or sixth grade. All of my friends were also playing basketball and other sports. And so my family and I like wanted to look into more of like adaptive sports, I guess. We obviously didn't know much about them at the time. And um, eventually that I found wheelchair basketball. And then just ever since then, I've loved it. I mean, it was something I didn't really think was possible for me for a while. So then when I started playing, it was like the best feeling ever. And obviously love the sport so much. And so I've been playing ever since.
That's awesome. I love that it came from kind of the family. Everybody does basketball. Got to do it too. I was also involved in lots and lots of sports growing up. And I think it wasn't so much that my family played, it was more so we spent all of our waking hours watching them. But it was fun. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, cool. So, how did you end up at Alabama? From Minnesota, so it's not exactly the closest place.
Not at all. I started coming to like um the adaptive basketball like has wheelchair like camps every summer. And I started coming to those when I was like 13 or 14. It was pretty quick after I started playing basketball. And then literally like the first time I came here, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to college there. And everybody thought I was lying, but here I am. So I kind of just loved it right away. And um I've been developing like a relationship with my coach Ryan for since that time. So I've become obviously very close with him, and it just the transition between coming from so far away in Minnesota to here was so easy because it just felt like a family right away. Like before I was even here, I was already super close with everybody, and so made the transition super easy.
That's awesome. What are you studying?
Human development and family studies.
Great. That's always, I feel like the part of the intro. My name's Aggie and I study sports management. All that, but had to ask. I had to
Yeah.
ask. Um, awesome. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's super fun. Your second year. But let's kind of go through, I guess, a typical day of being an athlete and a student at Alabama. Let's not even talk about Paralympics and all that training yet. But what is a day with training and things like that like at Alabama?
Yeah, so we practice. My women's team, we practice 6:45 to 8:45 every morning. And then based on the day, like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, we have lifts after practice. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have like small group things where you work on like individual skills and stuff like that. Typically, that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, and then after that, obviously have like school the rest of the day. And for small groups and weights, you can have like different times kind of based on your schedule. So like mine is right after practice. So I basically have practice from like 6:45 to like 10-ish, like a little before or after that usually. And then but there are some girls where like their schedule, a lot of their classes are a little more in the morning, like right after practice. So then they come in the afternoon and do like the same exact things, just different times, obviously. So sometimes you have to just adjust your school or basketball schedule around each other. And um, and then yeah, after I go to practice, obviously I go to school for a few hours after that, and then come back, do homework, all that good stuff.
And then do it all again the next day.
Yeah, same.
I love it. Okay, cool. We had some questions come in from my team about national championship in 2021 or of 2021. What was this like? I'm sure that was super exciting. I wish I was there, but I was watching on TV, so that was super fun. I was watching the live stream. But yeah, what was this like? Just kind of walk us through it.
It was amazing. I mean, the year was so crazy, obviously, because of COVID and stuff. And it was just like the craziest season ever, like tournament after tournament being canceled, teams deciding not to come, like that kind of thing. Like it just was like one thing after another. It felt like it was just crazy. And I mean, through it all, our team stayed really solid and like had a very good, like close connection. So like, every day we'd still come into practice, still work hard, obviously, and like no matter what was happening. And then even with the national championship, like it was the best of 3 with our other competitor UTA, which was just so different. Like obviously usually it's more of like a bracket thing, but we just played the same team 2 times. But I think to kind of end that year, the crazy year, on such a great note with such a great team, like it was a super fun, amazing way to end it, kind of like show that it was all worth it, like because the whole season we were like, we can't let all of these things like stop us from our end goal. Like we just have to keep working hard, keep doing this. And so it worked out and it was amazing, like one of the best feelings, and our team was so fun, so close. And so it just was a really good way to kind of end that great season, crazy season, but amazing season at the same time. Like it was so unique. It really made it like super fun actually in the end. So it was amazing.
Yeah, that's a very special season in so many different ways. I think not just the win, but all of the barriers and issues and crazy stuff that happened over the last year definitely made that one a little different, which is really exciting. But congrats.
Thank you.
I guess kind of moving forward a little bit, first of all, how did you manage Alabama and prepping for Tokyo with Team USA? I can barely keep one priority in line, so I couldn't imagine doing this at the same time. But yeah, how did you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a lot. It was a lot of basketball going on all the time, which was great. But it was, so we started having like USA tryout and like training camps in March, and like 4 or 5 days after our national championship game. And so in a sense that kind of was nice, because then me and then my other teammate Bailey were both doing these camps and stuff. And so then we'd have camps starting in March until Tokyo, basically, like once or twice a month usually. And so we would go to those camps, and even before the camp started, we had like workouts and other like assignments from our USA team to do. And that's why being at Alabama was so great though, was because we have so many resources and stuff to be able to do those like assignments. And so Bailey and I would do a little extra work on top of all the other basketball stuff we were doing. And in preparation for that, to make sure we were ready, obviously for the Alabama team, and then still to go to these training camps in Tokyo and everything. So lots of basketball, basically.
Lots of basketball. That'll be the lesson of this show. More basketball, the better.
Yes.
But I love it. Cool. Okay, so when you found out you were selected, obviously super exciting. Then what happened?
So I found out I made the team like middle of July-ish was when they selected the team. And then we had about a month or so until we left for Tokyo. And so after that selection camp where they named the team, we had one last training camp in Colorado like a few weeks later. And then after that, I went home to Minnesota for like a week, and then I went back to Colorado again and for like a residency program. So I was just at the Olympic Paralympic Training Center for the 10 days before I left for Tokyo with some of my teammates there. And then obviously from then on, we went from Colorado to Tokyo and then came back, and yeah. So
All that prep, more basketball, right? More basketball.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What was Tokyo like? I guess, can you tell us some of your favorite memories, some of the, I don't know, your highlights?
It was obviously the most amazing experience to be a part of. Like, it's still, even after, very crazy to wrap my head around that actually happened, I guess. It's like something we've been training for the past few years, but also like something you dream about since you're like, I was young, I did never think it'd be a reality, especially so soon. And so being there was just super like overwhelming, but in the best way. Like, it just, every day I walked around and I felt like I just looked like, oh my gosh, like my head was just on a swivel like all the time. I was just trying to take everything in, like you're surrounded by all of these different cultures, which is just amazing in itself. And then when you think about it, like these are the best athletes from all these different places in the world. So you're surrounded by like the coolest people ever, I swear. And especially like, I think it's really unique, like in the Paralympic setting, like you see so many different types of like abilities and disabilities and stuff like that. Like, it's just amazing to see. Like, it's crazy. There's nothing like it. And obviously, when you get into the games too, it's really cool because like everybody is so involved, like even the different sports, like everybody's like, oh, I watched your guys' game the other day, you did great, or oh, I was watching this. Like, it's just super fun environment to be in, even though it's also still a super competitive environment. Obviously all these people are competing against each other in like the biggest scale ever, but also still being very supportive of one another, which was super cool to be involved in. And just all the people that I met was just amazing, and experiencing that with my team there was great, because my team, like we've all been together, like I said, all the time since March, basically, like almost every few weeks, like it felt like. And so we were all a very close-knit team, and experiencing that together, especially because there was 12 people on our team and it was 9 of our first Paralympics, which was like never been done before. We were a super young team, and so just the experience as a team was amazing, and it was a really amazing thing to be a part of. That's all I can really say. It was just awesome.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. That's really exciting. I was actually going to ask you about the 9 people doing this for the first time. That's so many people for a team of 12, but that's incredible. So exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I had Darlene Hunter on a few months ago, and she was kind of saying the same thing. She's like, "This is the youngest and most exciting team ever," and I was like, "Yeah, this is crazy."
Yeah, it really was. And doing as well as we did, being
Yeah.
so young, like nobody thought we would make it nearly
Mhm.
that far. So that just made it even better. Like it was a great
Yeah.
experience, obviously, no matter what. But then
Yeah.
the better we kept doing and watching everybody else's reactions, being like, wait, this team is super young and they're doing good. It was really fun.
Yeah, I bet. That's awesome. Cool, cool. Okay, so let's see. A few more questions for you. How did Alabama Adaptive help prep you for Tokyo?
I mean, like I said, like all the resources we have here, it
Yeah.
just is amazing. And
Mhm.
the coaches are so great too. They push us so hard and make like individually, like I've gotten so much better since I've been here. Like I went back to like March was my first USA training camp, obviously, since I had been at Alabama. And the first day I was there, everybody was like, wait, like you have improved. So like they were shocked. And it's just, I had only been there for, one season already. So like, it's just amazing. We have the best people doing the best work ever. And so it's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait. I want to come visit sometime. I want to come see facilities and things and meet all of you guys in person.
Yeah, that would be so fun.
Yeah, one day soon, hopefully. Okay, awesome. Last two questions for you. These are two that I'm asking every guest in this series. But just can you briefly describe someone who was influential in your life or in your wheelchair basketball life, or maybe somebody that you consider a mentor?
I would for sure say, I don't know if this is allowed, but it's two people. It's my parents. I could never ever say how much they've done for me and how much they've given up. I mean, they changed their entire lives when I was paralyzed and when I got sick, into doing whatever they could to make my life still like as normal and as easy as possible. Like when I think back to when I was sick and all the craziness, I mean, I was diagnosed with cancer in July and then in August I was paralyzed. Like I can't imagine how crazy that was, because for me it honestly did not feel nearly as like crazy, I feel like, as it should have, because my parents were so calm to me and like they just made everything so easy. And I never would be at Alabama, or I never would have been in the Team USA setting if it weren't for everything that they did. So I think I could never express everything that they've done for me, and I look up to them about so much.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. Hopefully they listen and they get all excited and they're so proud of you. I'm sure they're so proud. But cool. Okay, let's see. Last question. What is one piece of advice you would give to younger Abby?
I think I would say kind of just keep going. Like things were crazy, like I've said so many times. Like there was a lot of change happening, and I think there was a few times where it just was like, oh my gosh, like what now, And so I think just kind of saying that, just keep doing your thing, like things are going to work out, both obviously in a basketball sense and just in life in general. Like just keep adapting. You have to adapt, obviously, to the world around you a lot, but it all works out in the end, I think, is the one advice I would say.
Love it. I love ending the show on this question because hopefully somebody hears it and they're like, yes, that's what I need to do. And then they take it with them and they go out do it. I love it. Cool. Well, Abby, this was great. Thank you so much for sharing your story and excitement, and congrats on your national championship and your medal. Super fun. I can say I lost a lot of sleep during the few weeks of the Paralympics. I was watching at 3 a.m. or whenever the game was.
I know, I felt so bad. Everybody was really up in like the middle of the night watching.
Yes,
awesome.
It was worth it.
Yeah, thanks for watching. That's awesome.
Of course, so worth it. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to meet you.
Abby, thanks so much for coming on the show to share your story with us. Tune in for another episode of Adventures with Aggie featuring Alabama Adapted Athletics with Shelby Barron on Thursday.